Good day. Vivek reminded me that I need to say good day to everybody because he, as other folks, might be in other time zones. Vivek lives in the UK, and in fact, he is 5 hours ahead of where I am right now, so it's 3:30 in the afternoon. But let me put my lower third in here, which I did not do as things were happening. And there's the lower third. We'll turn it on and we'll turn it around, and there it is. Well, good day. What does Vivek say? David, make an announcement. I am all ears. Okay, Vivek. Well, first, before I make the announcement, I want to share some thoughts with you. I have been very irregular this week with doing HOAs, and the reason is very simple. My 10-month-old granddaughter, my son, my daughter-in-law were in Cincinnati this week, where I live, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They live in Italy, so whenever they are in the United States, it's a very special time for me, and it becomes a major priority of my life to anything that happens. So whereas I've been posting things this week and trying to keep in communication with the community, I have spent a lot of time with my granddaughter, my son, and my daughter-in-law. To that point, the reason that we are having our community meeting today, and I might say, if anybody who is watching right now would like to be on the panel, actually in the lower third inside of the HOA, please let me know in the event stream and I will send you an invite. Family does take precedence, Vivek, always. Tomorrow, Saturday mornings is typically, as you know, when we have community meetings. And I have been very, very pleased with the meetings that we have had. I think we've had 4 of them now. I've been very pleased because there haven't been a lot of people attending the meetings, and that is not important to me, how many people attend. What is important is, number one, creating a quality experience for those folks who do take the time to attend, and number two, hopefully something dynamically happens in each community meeting that we have. So it doesn't matter if there's 1,000 people there or there's 5 people there. If something dynamically happens, to me, that is the most important thing. And I'm very happy to say, based upon the feedback that I'm getting, and we haven't had huge attendance, once again, not important, but every single meeting that we have had, something dynamically has happened. And that's all that really counts. Just one thing happened dynamically, and then it was in my mind, a successful endeavor. So tomorrow, we are not having a community meeting tomorrow because, and I am very happy to say because why we are not having a meeting tomorrow morning is that I am going to be blessed to celebrate Father's Day tomorrow, one day early. And the reason being is, once again, with my son Sam, who lives in Italy, and his brother Jordan, who lives in Columbus, Ohio, which is about 120 miles up the road from where I'm sitting right now. I cannot actually remember the last time where I had both of my sons together for Father's Day. They'll remind me tomorrow when it happened, but I can't remember when it did happen. But not only, well, tomorrow is very special because we on Father's Day I'm able to officially welcome two new members of our family for this Father's Day who were not in our family last Father's Day, and that is my granddaughter Eloise, precious Eloise. She was 10 months old on Wednesday, and my new daughter-in-law Sarah of it'll be 3 weeks tomorrow that I went to Columbus for Sarah and Jordan's wedding. So we have two new members of our family that I can officially welcome tomorrow on Father's Day, my Father's Day. So it's going to be a great weekend, and one very, very special to me because I can have all of my children together, which now includes grandchildren. And maybe next year there'll be another grandchild. Who knows? It's out of my control now. I've done my fatherly thing. Now it's up to my sons to do their fatherly thing, and we'll see where that all goes. So, big weekend for me, and I'm really looking forward. I just got an email from Jordan, my Columbus son, telling me where I am to be tomorrow at noon, and I will be there, Jordan, if you're watching. But I don't know that Jordan has ever watched me. I don't know that if either of my two sons have ever watched me do an HOA. I've done hangouts with my granddaughter from Cincinnati to Italy, and I do those every week. That's how I watch Eloise. I've been watching Eloise grow up. But I don't think either of my sons, if they have been at an HOA, they certainly have not told me. And Vivek is asking a question. What's with this Father's Day thing? Another opportunity for big brands to flog stuff and make youngsters buy stuff that their dads don't really need. Vivek, you are too funny on that one. Vivek lives in the UK and comes from a culture apparently where they, I guess, don't celebrate Father's Day, but probably Vivek in the early days of Father's Day, it probably was a holiday, if you will, that was established by some of the big brands. And yes, it is an opportunity for the big brands to sell something. I actually am hoping I don't get any presents, because the greatest gift that is given to me, will be given to me, is just having all of my children together under one roof, if you will. Doesn't happen too often because of the distance and where they live, but obviously when it does happen, it's a very special thing. So, Vivek, if you want to do a drum roll, here's the big announcement. And it really is a pretty significant announcement. It has always been part of my thinking that as I did the Dreaming with Entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurship thing, that mentoring and teaching students of entrepreneurship the ways of entrepreneurship. Number one, to try to discover if, in fact, they have that spirit of entrepreneurship. And if they have that spirit, what can they do with it? So I see Carrie Butler in the audience, if you will. And Carrie, I believe, is 17 years old, which probably means he is still in high school. Over the years, well, I'm going to invite Vivek, and I'm going to invite Carrie, see if they want to come in. I am sending an invite right now to Vivek. Let me type it in. And I'm going to invite Carrie in to see if Carrie wants to come. Okay, I've invited the two of them in. Over the years, probably last 7 or 8 years, as I have lived here in Cincinnati, where I live, one of the important things that I do is to share with grade school students, high school students, and college students whatever it is that I can share with them that will motivate them, if they have that entrepreneurial spirit, to do something with that spirit. I see Vivek. I don't hear him yet. Is he there? He's shaky.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can now hear you. No? Good morning. Or I should say for you, good afternoon. I know I'm not supposed to do that because of the time zone difference. How are you doing,
Good
Vivek?
day.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Well, you heard me make my comment. Is Father's Day an event, if you will, that is celebrated just in the United States?
I don't know. Here, I do see advertisements on the TV talking about Father's Day and so on. So I suppose it's celebrated here as well. I mean, whatever that celebration means. What's the significance of the Father's Day? That's my main question, actually.
Well, the bottom line significance to Father's Day is to well, to make fathers feel something special on that day. Now, I, as a father, feel something special 365 and a quarter days every year because I don't need a Father's Day, set aside to remind me. I am very blessed to have 2 sons and now 2 daughters-in-law and also a grandchild. So it's a very, very special event for me. But to your point, I don't need a day set aside for Father's Day. But it might have been Hallmark cards when you talk about big brands, because Hallmark cards over the years have been very instrumental in introducing holidays where people will buy cards, greeting cards. But do you know?
Yeah, go on.
I was going to ask you a question. Take a guess at what day of the year or what event of the year celebrated is the day that most cards are actually bought.
Probably Mother's Day.
Not probably, Vivek. It is Mother's Day. Mother's Day far exceeds anything else in terms of buying cards. So I will have to assume that as Father's Day is not a necessarily a designated event in the UK, probably Mother's Day is not a designated event in the UK, or maybe it is.
I think it is.
You
Yeah,
mean
but
mothers is designated, not fathers?
the the problem here I see in the UK is the religious background is often lost, and when that happens, you lose the significance. And it becomes even for Christmas, a lot of the religious background to that is lost, and when that happens, it just becomes a commercial opportunity for people to sell. And I mean, yes, we do need to do business and all that, but not always. Not in the name of a special day and then try to make that I feel we do need some cultural background, some religious faiths, beliefs. We do need them. That's what makes us human rather than machines. That's my belief.
And we want to be humans, not machines, huh? Well, let me ask you before we get into my main topic of discussion. How are things going with your business, and is there something that the community can do as a community to help you with a challenge you're having in your business?
Not as such. It's more of my business is not doing what it should be doing, and I'm still doing the brainstorming and so on. So there are lots of things going on in my head. So yeah, in that respect, if any help can be given, yes.
Well, that's interesting because in the true spirit of entrepreneurship, there's a transitional kind of well, I know for a fact because you and I've had private discussions, so I should share that. There are transitional kinds of things going on in your life, and that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing because an entrepreneur has to be aware, has to be able to take advantage of opportunities that might come their way. Now, in your transitional period, in your business life, in your personal life, you may find something that is not necessarily related to what you actually do professionally, and maybe you'll say, geez, that's of interest to me, and I can bring value to that particular situation, so I'm going to pursue it. And that is the spirit of entrepreneurship: realizing, understanding, finding, uncovering, and reacting to opportunities. And you know I'm on your side on that one, Vivek. Anything that I can do to help you find your way. It's kind of interesting that there's an interesting dynamic going on in the community, which really, really excites me. People, and we're almost 200 members now. We are, by the end of the day, we will be 200 members in our community, which is, yeah, numbers are not important. The fact that people are engaging and getting involved, that is what is important. And I have had not less than 10%, so approximately 20 folks, contact me offline, if you will, not in the public environment, and asking me questions. What are my thoughts about? What do I think about? and that to me is I am absolutely positively achieving my goals and objectives when I can have that kind of dynamic happening.
Mm.
That's that's exactly what I wanted to do because, as you know, you know me as well as anybody in this community because we've been friends for at least a year and a half now. Um, you know that I'm all about collaboration and how can
Yeah.
we help one another in our businesses grow.
Mm.
Uh, because if I can help you and you can help me, that's a great thing, obviously, for our individual business. But together, we form a new dynamic force that we can take to the marketplace and help other folks.
Mm.
And
Yeah, by the way, Carrie, he says in the comment stream, he says, I
I'm going
want,
to read what I'm going to read what he says because I
yeah.
saw it, and I don't know why something was said last week, and I thought Carrie was younger, and Carrie looks pretty young in that profile picture. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
And I thought Carrie, and maybe I'm confused. Well, not maybe I'm confused. I am confused. We'll have to figure out why. But Carrie says he wants to wait to get involved publicly with the HOAs until September when he officially introduces a product. That's great. Um, you can throw it out there at any time that you want, Carrie, before September, just to get some feelers. What we can actually do in the community because I'm doing this with other folks right now, as a matter of fact, is creating focus groups. And if you have an idea that you would like to share to see what kind of potential there is for that idea to generate some revenue for you, uh, uh, let's create a focus group to talk about it and throw ideas out there. Um, as recently as yesterday, I proposed to an individual that contacted me about an idea that they wanted to share. I said, let's have a focus group. Let's throw it out there to members of the community and see exactly what they think about it and see if there's a potential. Because I would have to say with the 200 folks that we have in the community, the 200 personalities that are there, they are all over the world, literally all over the world, not in any one geographic area. If you can throw an idea out there and get some really strong positive feedback on that idea, there's a good chance that that idea will grow and develop and generate revenues for you, and that's what business is all about. So I encourage that kind of process where we can actually create an HOA for you because you have and when I say you, I mean the generic you, anybody in the community, and you have an idea, you have a thought, and you want to open it up. And we will create an HOA, we'll throw it out there, and it doesn't matter how many people show up. That's not what matters is the folks that do show up, A, have a quality experience,
Mm.
and B, they have some positive feedback. And it doesn't necessarily have to be positive feedback. There's nothing wrong with negative feedback. Negative feedback is a learning experience for you. I just had this discussion last week with somebody, and I think we did it publicly. I don't remember exactly. It might have been private. That negative feedback is a good thing because you understand what's on people's mind when they give you negative feedback. It may be good feedback, it may be bad feedback, but it is feedback. And the concept of people taking their time to share with you thoughts and ideas, good or bad, is a great thing because your idea has motivated some type of discussion and feedback. And that's what business is all about. So I did not realize, and Carrie, I apologize to you. I thought you were 17 for some reason. Something that was said last week made me think that, but he's almost 54 years old. So I'm 11 years older than you are, Carrie, 2 weeks to go. And he runs his own business. 35 years in business. Wonderful. Great. You started your business when you were 19, is that right? 19? Yes. No, 20. 19. When you were 19 years old. So you actually got a I well I didn't actually start a business until I was 24. I was involved in business before that age, but I did not start one until I was 24. Carrie, you and I are going to talk offline, hopefully this week, and if I can help you in any way and how you're trying to move forward with your business, I absolutely will do so. So, Vivek, you want to give me a drum roll so I can make an announcement? Somehow my Google effects don't work that well. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. And the drum roll is kind of cool. He's added Google effects. The app is there. Wow, there it is. Yay! Okay, well, and Vivek, please remind me. I'm going to talk about what I want to announce, but remind me of a very interesting experience that I had yesterday. And I want to share that experience with the community because it's very, very significant. I got an email from my ISP saying that I was in copyright violation of something, and it wasn't. I can guarantee you it was not me, but I have a wireless network in my home, and there are 3 other people that have access to that wireless network.
Okay.
And I guarantee it was one of those 3 people, because anything that I might do, I would get a hit from Google, because everything I do is Google. So if I was in any kind of copyright violation, they would let me know, and they would shut me down until we got the issue resolved. But so it's somebody else. Something's going on. So I got this email. And I asked them in writing. I sent a response back. Please tell me what, because it was a very generic kind of email. Please tell me exactly what that violation was so that I can properly understand and I can properly reprimand whomever violated it on my wireless signal that I create, because I'm not going to make my signal accessible to anybody that's going to violate copyright law and get me in trouble. It's not them that's going to get in trouble. It's me that's going to get in trouble. Okay. Last week, I don't know if, Vivek, if you follow a very interesting individual, member of the community. His name is Mark Farashti. Do you follow Mark at all?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Mark is a really interesting entrepreneur. And we probably met... Well, we've kind of gone back and forth for probably a year, but we've actually started interacting one-to-one, kind of interacting, probably about 2 months ago. And he very, very soon is going to be announcing an entrepreneurial endeavor that he is doing. And so we've kind of, we talk about it and brainstorm about it. But he is... he's a really, really interesting individual. As a matter of fact, I proposed to him this week, 2 days ago, maybe yesterday, that he and I do a Sunday night humorous bantering for a half hour. Because he's got a good sense of humor, my sense of humor, and we just take stuff and show another side of who we really are. And the reason I proposed that, I was reading a really interesting blog this week about some folks that really take a humorous approach to their marketing. and it's really, really working for them. I mean,
Mm.
they've been able to demonstrate uh, increase in business, increase exposure, more interaction, and those are all good things, obviously. And so I said, "Wow!" I mean, humor has always been an important part of my life, but I'd love to just do a Sunday night bantering half hour of stuff that's going on, and I got to remember to do it at a time slot where Vivek can listen to it. Well, certainly can listen to the replay, but it'll be it's got to be kind of entertaining and
Mm-hmm.
informative, not just
Mm.
informative.
Yeah.
So the information comes by entertaining, not just straightforward information. Okay, nurturing the entrepreneurial spirit. Mark last week sent me a blog. He's been on his own. He has just been, as we've been talking about the entrepreneurial spirit, that's the theme. He's been out there and searching for articles and blogs and information for himself. And when he finds something that is potentially interested to the community, he sends it my way, which is a wonderful thing. That's a great thing. So he sent me an article from the Consortium for Entrepreneurship Education. And it just so happens that that consortium was created 100 miles north of where I'm sitting right now in Columbus, where I'm going tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a consortium that was set up for the express purpose of providing information, providing a resource so that folks like myself could share information for students of entrepreneurship,
Mm.
be they high school students, be they college students, be they grade school students. And I have had personal experiences in all three areas. So Mark reminded me when he sent me this article that, you know what, this has been an objective of mine, and for whatever reason I haven't aggressively moved forward on that objective, but now I am moving forward on that objective. And so I'm doing research. I'm seeing what resources they actually have available.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm going to do, Vivek, is I'm going to ask members of the community to get involved, either just by interactions or by sharing their expertise, which
Mm.
happens to be a particular subject matter that we're going to get involved in. I mean,
Mm.
people will listen to me, but I want to get other people involved too with their expertise. My expertise is marketing, sales, business strategy, and I'm very comfortable with sharing my thoughts, my ideas in those three areas. But there's other aspects of business where I absolutely would not share information myself. I would bring on an expert. So, for instance, for example, when we get involved in IT kinds of issues, obviously Vivek is going to be on my invite list because that's your expertise. And you are a storehouse of knowledge on,
Thank you.
on issues of technology. If memory serves me correct, you were instrumental in helping the first train operation in India get started. Is that correct?
Yes, underground train.
Well, it doesn't matter if it's overground or underground, but and I'm being a little sarcastic here because you've actually shared that story publicly with me. But that's big time stuff. I mean, to have somebody like yourself with that kind of background, that kind of capability, that's wonderful for our community. Because I would have to believe if you were able to get involved in a project like that, there's probably no other project in the world that you could not get involved in. Is that a fair assumption?
Yes.
If I might say so myself. But no, and that's what we're all about. And I want people in the community to know that if you have a technology challenge, no matter what it is, Vivek is a great resource in our community to help you with that challenge. Not only in the big picture sense of things, but also he's a specialist in Google technology. He studies Google technology very, very closely. So if there's any kind of challenge that you have going on with something that you're confronted with in Google, Vivek is a absolutely wonderful go-to person for information. By the way, speaking of that, there's some. I've been seeing some discussions that have surfaced in the last 24 hours, Vivek, that Google is doing something or making some resource available for small businesses, particularly to promote the locality, the localness, if you will, of business. Do you have any information on that, or have you been reading anything?
That Google has been doing quite a lot in those areas from quite a long time. I think what they're doing now is trying to bring it together. It has been in all different places. I mean, all over the place, and they're trying to bring it into easy to follow format.
Which makes very logical sense. Well, because as you and I know, because we use the technology every day of our lives, that Google is not always the best. I mean, they've got the greatest technology going. There's no ifs, ands, buts, or whys about it. But they are not always great in communicating what's going on. And they throw stuff out there, then you and I have to figure out what's out there and how do we apply what's out there to our own situations, and we know that really well because of our Hangouts on air. I mean, we spend a lot of time, you and I, on Hangouts on air, and whereas that technology hasn't changed too terribly much in the last couple months, they will throw stuff out there and not tell us, and then we have to figure out what they've done and how do we apply it to what we are doing. So
the major problem, or I mean, if you look at it as a problem, the major challenge there is Google is a engineering company essentially, and I would say they need people like you as evangelists, people who understand what they're trying to do.
Whether they want us or not, that's what we do.
As an engineer myself, I do understand what they do, and I also can understand the difficulty they have in communicating the message to the market.
If I might say it another way, I mean, what you say is absolutely correct. If I might say it another way, Google is a huge organization of technology geeks. I mean, and they're as good as it gets, but their marketing skills, with all due respect, Google, don't shut me down. With all due respect, they're not marketing folks. They are technology folks. So they need, as you said, they need folks like myself who are marketing people. They need Ronnie Bincer, who not only understands technology, but also understands marketing. So he's a great, great resource for them because he understands what they're doing. And because of his marketing skills, he's able to communicate that to the marketplace. And so he ought to be on Google's payroll, and he may or may not be. I don't need to be on Google's payroll, but I do have an idea for Google that I would like them to invest in. I don't have to be on their payroll, but I have a great idea. And by the way, Vivek, it's a marketing idea. It's not a technology idea. It's a marketing idea. That is one of my objectives for 2014 is to try to engage Google in a great marketing idea that I have that if they think about it for like 15 seconds, they will agree with me that it's a great idea, and so I'll have to get them to open up their pocketbooks if we can. It's well, I don't want to go public. I actually have talked a little bit about it. Maybe I don't know if I've done it public. I've definitely done it privately, but I have a wonderful idea for them, and I have a feeling that if it were to become reality, you would get involved in it. I would demand that you would get involved in it. Though you wouldn't have a choice. Okay, let me go over what my thoughts are for this entrepreneurial, educational experience.
Drum roll once again.
No, we don't need another drum roll. You've done fine on that already. Quotation, and this is by the gentleman who started this whole who started the consortium, and he's from Ohio State in Columbus, Ohio, just up the road from me. My son is a graduate of the Ohio State School of Marketing and Management, so he has enough connections. But I think this gentleman has passed away. I think he has, but he made the statement: entrepreneurs are not born, rather they become through the experience of their lives. And with that thought in mind, he created this consortium. So they have made all these resources available, and I'm in my research phase of all this right now because I want to take as many of these resources, because it's great stuff. It's great stuff, and I want to take as many as I can and make them available to members of our community. And not only that, I want, as I said, to have folks like yourself where you can plug in and share your expertise on this knowledge and information. We certainly will look forward to that. I want to read the opening paragraph from a statement that the consortium released in November 2010, so 3.5 years ago. In 2004-2005, the Consortium for Entrepreneurship Education conducted focus groups with entrepreneurs across the nation to capture the knowledge, skills, and attributes that entrepreneurs believed were important to be a successful entrepreneur. The result was 403 performance indicators organized in 15 standards, presented in 3 major categories. Published in 2005, the National Content Standards for Entrepreneurship Education have served as an umbrella describing the field as a whole. So our objective, Vivek, in the community will be to explore all of this information that is available, and then share it in any way that we possibly can with members of the community. Now, I'm going to ask the members of the community to get involved themselves because, A, we're all going to learn something. We're all going to learn something ourselves. But as important as learning it ourselves is to share that information with a future entrepreneur or an entrepreneur who is not old enough, doesn't have the resources to do what needs to be done. But we as established entrepreneurs, we've been doing it, we are obligated. We are obligated to share that information with folks who are with students, grade school, high school, college. Um, Vivek, have you ever heard me, I'm sure you have, read the Entrepreneurship Pledge?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And incumbent in that pledge is the fact that because I've been a small business owner for over 40 years. I've had successes. I've had failures. I have to share that. I'm obligated. I don't have a choice because I'm here today. I am obligated to share that information so that we can help people, so that we can mentor people, to take their ideas and to build businesses out of their ideas. Because, my friends, and you've heard me say it approaching 1,000,000 times, that business in this country, and I'm sure Vivek will agree with me, he lives in the UK. Business is all about what happens with small business. Small business is the heartbeat. Small business is the foundation of anything big that happens. Because any big business that is a big business today started as a small business. And because they had a good idea and a good system and a good process, they became a big business. That's not brain surgery. That's how business is supposed to happen. That if the idea is good, it should grow and involve more people and bring better solutions to the marketplace. But at the heart and the foundation of all of that thinking is what happens in small business. So that's what I'm all about. So I'm in the process. So I am in the process now of putting all of these ideas together. I have learned from these folks. There are 5 stages of lifelong learning. Stage one is the basics. In the primary grades, junior high and high school, students should experience various facets of business ownership. Absolutely. And I am proud to say that I have done my part a little bit, not enough, but a little bit to start to make that happen. I went into a 6th grade, basically a 6th grade program here in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I lived. And it was a 1-day-a-year project, certainly not enough, but a start. It was a 1-day-a-year project. I participated in that project for almost 10 years, where we would motivate the students, 6th graders basically, to think about business, to think that business is a logical choice, a choice like anything else. It's the same as a choice of a job. It's a different choice, but it's the same. You go to college. Typically, you go to college to learn some skills, to get some knowledge, to get some information, so that you can get a job afterwards. That's kind of the mindset of going to college. But college can also be an experience where you learn about starting a business and building a business. And interesting enough, the concept of entrepreneurship at the college level is a relatively new concept. It's mind-boggling to me how relatively new it really is. And I've been very blessed here in Cincinnati to have as a mentor of mine, as a supporter of mine, the gentleman who started the Department of Entrepreneurship at the University of Cincinnati here in where I live. We've been friends for 6 or 7 years now, and Chuck Matthews we get together a couple times a year and we feed off each other, and actually I sent Vivek, I sent Chuck an email this morning and he travels all over the world, literally all over the world, to talk about entrepreneurship, and he actually answered that I forget where he told me. He's not in Cincinnati right now. He's somewhere else in the world, but he took the time to answer the email to say, I asked him a question. He gave me a response to that question. So when he gets back into Cincinnati, we will get together and talk about, okay, here's the challenge. What are your recommendations for moving forward on that? As a matter of fact, Vivek,
Mm-hmm.
I just found this morning as I was going through some things in November of 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Chuck, and that's you know how involved I am with Global Entrepreneurship Week,
Mm-hmm.
and that was Global Entrepreneurship Week that year. Chuck invited me to come into his graduate class of entrepreneurship and lecture them, talk to them about entrepreneurship. I have never taken a business course in my life, a management course in my life, an entrepreneurship course in my life, but how honored was I to have Chuck ask me to come into his class, and all the folks in his class signed this certificate thanking me for coming in. How cool is that?
Mm.
Okay, so stage number 2, competency awareness. The students will learn to speak the language of business and see the problems from the small business owner's point of view. Okay, that's a great thing. But how beautiful is the experience going to be when they learn those words from a parent who
Mm.
is an entrepreneur? Now, I have to assume that a lot of households where the parent, mother or father or both, are entrepreneurs, that they kind of share that experience. I certainly shared that experience with my sons as they were growing up, and what both of them are doing today is really reflective of what I do in terms of marketing. They both have great marketing minds, both of them. Different, very different, but both of them are very, very great in what they do. And I'm so proud of them. Uh, but I actually grew up in an entrepreneurial environment. My grandfather was a very successful businessman. My father was a successful business. My father actually started 2 businesses in 1 year. He bought a business and started a business in the same year. The business that he bought was a passion of his. It was a fulfillment of a dream of his. The business that he started was a pure entrepreneurial opportunity. I mean, absolutely pure opportunity. And so he did both of those in the same year. And interestingly enough, it was 7 years before he passed away. So
Mm.
the last 7 years of his life were devoted to those business endeavors. So I grew up in an entrepreneurial environment, but I was never necessarily encouraged to have, hey, David, you need to start a business or you need to get involved in the family business. That was never really, whatever I did on my own. And I was motivated on my own. But it was there. What I am saying is that if it's there already, what a great starting point for
Mm.
future entrepreneurs. So I'm going to invite any members of the community to A, get involved themselves, and B, bring their children along into the HOA to share that experience with them. It will certainly motivate them to do whatever it is that they need to be doing.
Mm.
And if they don't have children who are potentially interested or don't want to involve their children, bring another student, find a student, mentor a student, so that we can work together and move forward. Okay, that's stage number 2. Stage number 3 is creative applications. There is so much to learn about starting a business. It is not surprising that so many businesses have trouble. Oh, wow. Um, we teach future doctors for many years, but we have expected a small business owner to learn everything by attending several Saturday seminars, as they call them. That's kind of an interesting point. Now, that was stated, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Maybe it's changing a little bit with schools of entrepreneurship in the universities. And I've had this discussion with my friend Chuck Matthews many times, and it is changing. But these schools they had the instructors, the teachers, the professors. They were folks in many, many cases that never had a business of their own. They were textbook entrepreneurs. And as you and I know, that's okay, but it's only a start. The real pain, the real experience, the real knowledge comes from owning your own business and living through those things that you may or may not have read in the textbooks. I believe that's got to be changing as the schools of entrepreneurship mature. But it was out there. So competency awareness, stage. I'm sorry. That was stage 2 was creative applications, and we will promote creative applications any way we possibly can. And with all the 200 people involved in our community, if a student says, "Boy, I'm going to throw this idea out there," and they'll have hopefully 200 mentors that will help them move that business idea forward. Stage number 4, startup. After adults have had time to gain job experience and or future education, many are in need of special assistance in putting a business idea together. That's what we're all about. I've been putting business ideas together for 40 plus years. I know the basics of doing those things. I certainly know the right questions to ask. If I can provide answers to the right questions, I have a lot of folks who I know can give a better answer than I can to a question. To that point, Vivek, I made available this morning my book, the first book that I wrote, How Do You Answer These 749 Questions About Your Small Business. I published that book in I wrote it and published it myself in late 2007 and brought it to the marketplace January 1st, 2008. And I've made a PDF of that book available to anybody in the community. They are the right. Well, they were the 749 among the 749 right questions to ask in 2008. Interestingly enough, as I went through the questions, not all of them are necessarily pertinent today, and there are many questions that need to be asked today that were not asked 6 years ago in the book that I wrote. So that's one of the reasons why I actually got into doing YouTubes in HOA and HOAs, to ask the right questions, the questions that are important today. So I'm going to be upgrading that book, but if people download that PDF, it's a great place to get started. And if you need an answer to the question, hey, fire at me. Fire at me.
David, can you repeat where how can we get that book?
If they go to the community, I'll put it in this event stream also. But if they go to Dreaming with Entrepreneurs in Google Plus, in the discussion forum today, I put a PDF. I put a link to the PDF. So that's, and I'll put it in the event stream also.
Excellent.
Okay, so we talked about startups. So stage number 5 is growth. Often business owners do not seek help until it is almost too late. A series of continuing seminars or support groups can help the entrepreneur recognize potential problems and deal with them in time. So not only is this information going to be valuable to students of entrepreneurship, it's also going to be very, very valuable to existing entrepreneurs who have challenges with their business today. And that's what we're all about, to help folks with that. So that's where I am, Vivek. Actually, real quick, I talked about the 5 stages. I will do a further breakout of those 5 stages, and then ask folks that want to get involved.
One suggestion.
Sure.
Why not start a kind of series of HOAs?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
With kind of a training program. Make a short presentation, something like that.
Yes. Well, what I'll do
create a structure, and then
I'm going to take all this information and create 25 or 30 topics.
Any help you need, yes.
And then list those topics.
Any help you need, ask me. Yes.
Yes. Well, I'll throw it out there to the entire community, but thank you for your assistance. Yes. We can take this structure, this process, this system that these folks created, and make it very, very applicable to what we are doing today as a community, so that we can help each other grow our businesses, and help those folks that want to start businesses, help them start their business today. And I'm in the process right now of helping folks start their business, but the help is really motivational. The help is, okay, if that's your challenge, here's a resource. I'm not getting necessarily involved hands-on. Quite honestly, it would cost a lot. It would cost somebody a lot of money to get me involved hands-on, and I'd rather help more people than take the time out to help one person and have them pay me a lot of money, Vivek. I'd rather take that approach, because that's what I need to be doing at this stage of my life. It's not going one-on-one necessarily, but helping those people that have questions find answers to their questions. So that's it.
Yeah, you had told me to remind you of something.
I did. I talked about it, and that was basically it was that concept that I got an email from my ISP saying that I had violated a copyright law. They didn't say what it was. It was kind of a generic type letter, and as I read it, they weren't telling me exactly what it was. So how can I react to something generically? Tell me what was done wrong. But I firmly believe that it was not me, because I am very cognizant of copyright law and what you can do. Well, for instance, these folks that I've been quoting extensively today, they have no problem with me quoting them or using their materials as long as I give them credit. Why would I not want to give them credit? They were the ones that did the work. So somebody else in the house violated that, and until they tell me exactly what it was, I can't. But I will reprimand in my own way the person that used the signal that I was providing and violating copyright law. So I said, interesting enough, I sent an email this morning, early this morning, before their offices opened up, saying, okay, I want to give me more information. Tell me exactly what was done, and I will deal with it accordingly. And within the hour of those folks opening up, I got a response to that. I was very, very surprised. So a job ticket was created, and they
Mm.
told me in the response email that somebody would be contacting me,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see what happens. Carrie Butler is asking a question here. Let me take a look at it before we close down for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Have you checked that the letter was genuine? Oh, good question. Great question, Carrie. Um, I have every reason to believe that the letter was genuine based upon how it was written and the fact that they actually stated my account. Now, you're very right. You are absolutely spot on when you say it could be a spam attempt to get information out of me or make me do something that I don't have to do. You are
Mm.
absolutely right. And
One thing, yeah, but one thing, David, you may have to be careful about or aware of is you're saying you provide the Wi-Fi signal to a few people.
yes,
Um, is it encrypted? Or do they have to log in? Do they need to use a password? How is it?
yes,
Because why I'm asking that is there have been instances where um, here it has happened. I don't know how it is in where you live. Uh, Neighbors can tap into your account and do nasty things,
yes,
and you get penalized.
yes. They have there is a they have to log in, and there is a password uh,
Okay.
that needs to be used. But yes, Carrie Carrie thinks I'm being fished, and wait, I'll find that out, Carrie. I will find that out. My gut tells me I'm not, but
Mhm.
it's very, very possible that I am. And
Um, yeah, rather than I would say rather than responding to their emails, why not pick up the phone and call them?
I want, well, great question. And my thinking was I want something in writing.
Yeah, writing is fine, but the best thing to do is actually because you know the number that you are calling. You know the number that you are calling, and that will be your ISP's number, phone number. So you know who is going to respond to you from the other end, and then maybe you can ask the same question to them. Did you send a letter like this to me?
Well, you know what? You are saying exactly the same thing that Carrie is saying in the event stream. He
Yes.
thinks he thinks that, and it's very possible. It's
Mm.
very possible. And because the ISP is my local phone company,
Mm-hmm.
and I have friends inside of my local phone company,
Mm-hmm.
professionally,
Mm-hmm.
I will. I'm definitely going to pursue this so that I can share the experience with other folks. If it's a phishing experience, I want to be able to share that. If it's a real experience, I want to be able to share what.
As a friend, my suggestion is don't be a victim.
No,
Call the
don't.
call your friend, find out what's going on, and rather than I mean, you said you got a response saying that they'll be in touch with you, so on and so forth. They have created
They said a job ticket was created.
yeah, but I would say since you have somebody already in as a friend there professionally, I suggest you get in touch with them on your own.
Oh no, no, I'm absolutely going to do that.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, if somebody is phishing, um, we can now we have two sources of things that have been sent to me, and we can
Mhm.
check. We can go backwards and see where they're being generated from. So yes, absolutely. I'm going to make a personal contact, but I'm not going to go any further in writing. I've gone as far as I'm going to go in writing.
Yeah. use the
So,
phone and then find out from them, and
well,
then
I won't hesitate to go. Their corporate offices are 10 minutes away from me. I'll go to their corporate offices and say, I want to talk to your IT security folks.
yeah.
No, I will do that too. But we have an experience to share. I've been I talk about fishing. Once a year I talk about a fishing experience, and I was actually the victim of a phishing experience, and I could tell it. I could tell it by the original email that
Mm,
it was coming from a bank, and the bank would never have sent me an email with that particular experience.
mm,
They just would not have done it. That's not how they do business. So it was a red flag to me that it was a phishing experience, and I contacted the security of the bank, and they
mm,
confirmed that it was so they did whatever they were going to do.
mm.
Carrie asked the question, why was the ticket not created first? There's something fishy here. Yeah, something doesn't smell right, Carrie. Smells fishy to me. Smells PHISHY, fishy to me. I've got some other fish cooking. It doesn't smell like that at all. Yes, thank you, Carrie, for your concern. And Vivek, I will absolutely follow up on that. But I wanted to respond to get something back in writing, and getting something back in writing now we can go to the source and follow up. They've gotten all the information they're going to get out of me. But it'll help. If it is somebody fishing and they have
Mm,
created a job ticket, um, and somebody's going to contact me, that takes it one more level that we can go back and find the source of the information.
mm.
So we're on an expedition. We're on a fishing expedition. These these are the fun ones. Okay, very good. We're gonna end today, and thank you, Vivek, for taking time and coming and sharing and giving us some feedback on some things. And we are going to move forward on this whole learning experience, the entrepreneurial spirit of learning, and we will create. I'm in the process of creating an agenda. I will throw that out, or a curriculum, if you will. I will throw those topics out to the community, and I will
Mm,
be very appreciative of any folks inside the community that want to share their experiences, their professional experiences with the specific topic at hand.
mm.
My name is SmallbizDavid, and I will see you the next time, which may very well be the best time. Have a great weekend.